الحمد لله الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا واشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له واشهد أن سيدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. As we always do, we begin with the simple recipe of success in the Quran. Verily by time man is in loss except those who believe and do good. Faith and action come together, two sides to the coin, as we always say. And abide by truth and abide by justice. Truth and justice come together. And patience. Truth, justice, and patience. Al-Haq, truth, justice, was sabr, patience, discipline. Why do they come together? Because if you choose to pursue that which is true and that which is just, you had better be patient. Because in this world, sometimes that's the difficult route to take. And all too many people, way too many people, choose to take the shorter route, which does not concern itself with truth and justice. And that has sometimes immediate dividends, immediate rewards that are superficial, that are fake, that are not lasting. But that sense of gratification, that false sense of gratification may be there. And so if you wish to pursue the real path, the true path, the just path, then make sure that, one of your allies is patience and discipline. And in Islam, sabr means both. It's not just being patient. Being patient alone means just waiting. It's a passive thing. But, in Islam as Muslims, when we wait, even if we have to wait, we're still moving in our spot. We're not just sitting there waiting for something to happen, but we're preparing to change something for the better, and we're being patient until that can change. That's what we call discipline, hard work. And in this world, the dunya, there are always challenges. I cannot think for a moment, and you cannot think for a moment, that you're going to sail through this dunya without being tested, without being challenged. And if you haven't yet, then prepare, because your time and my time is coming. It could be anything. If you're healthy, if you're well off, if you're successful, it could be the removal of any of those things. Your health, your success, you can be tested with a little bit of failure. Your property, your wealth, could be any of those things. And so the spirituality, the spiritual exercises, the interconnectedness to God, the belief in God, the consciousness vis-a-vis God, and then the acts of worship, from prayer to fasting to supplication to dhikr, remembrance, to almsgiving, to hajj, all of these things are it's like going to the gym for the soul. If you want to prepare for a good physical competition like the Olympics, what do? You spend most of your time, a lot of your time, in a disciplined manner, prepping your body for that. You need to build the right muscle, have the right stamina, have the right, oxygen intake, and the right flexibility, and everything else that physicality entails vis-a-vis that task, the physical task. You sleep well, you eat well, you watch your diet, etc., etc. Well, it's easy for us to understand that because we're physical creatures. We see, we hear, we feel. But we're also spiritual creatures. But the spiritual component of us is something that we cannot take for granted. To the contrary, it's something that we need to nurture and develop in order to fully acquiesce. And that spiritual nature, that spirit also needs to be trained and nurtured and well fed in order for it to become strong, healthy, vibrant, so that when you come to the competition, when you come to the tough times, when you come to the test, you're also prepared to be able to deal with that. And you're not taken by surprise and finishing last or not finishing at all. That is the context of worship. That is what we should be thinking of when we are connecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a sense of purification, of preparedness, to save ourselves from difficult times to come. And we get gratitude from that. We get a sense of accomplishment, a sense of achievement, a sense of happiness. It is often said that the true Muslim feels happy when they worship. You know we're doing it right when it's not a chore. If it's a chore and you're doing it, God bless you, you're still trying. But eventually, if we're sincere, we'll get to a point where what is a chore for many is a source of happiness for us, because we have come to truly feel the rewards of that. The rewards of that. Much like eating. You eat, you enjoy the food. You don't eat because you have to eat. Worship becomes that important, like oxygen, water, food. It's something that sustains your soul, sustains your spirit. My dear brothers and sisters, everybody faces tough times. Muslims are facing tough times in various places. In places like Syria, places like Burma, places like Palestine, and other places around the world, in Africa, okay, in certain countries out there, we're facing challenges of hunger, of drought, of war, of persecution, of genocide. And we need to be able to have the faith and the stamina, the truth and the discipline to see that through. And domestically, we face our own set of challenges. The rise of the hate rhetoric that seems to be targeting Muslims and other minority communities that are perceived to be Muslim is something that concerns us and something that tests us. It's something that we need to respond to with wisdom, with resolve, with justice, truth, patience, and discipline. This week, unfortunately, has seen a rise in the number of violent crimes against Muslims, and even Sikhs who are perceived to be Muslim being the worst of these crimes. 7 innocent individuals were killed while worshiping in the Sikh temple in Wisconsin, in Oak Creek, Wisconsin, simply because of the way they looked. The color of their skin, the clothes they chose to wear, the religion that they were perceived to have. Whether they were Sikhs or Muslim, the result is the same. That this is absolutely reprehensible, unacceptable, and it is something that we, Americans, Muslims, and otherwise, of good conscience, will not sit and stand for, will not accept. And on the heels of that, we see a mosque that was burnt just the next day to the ground in Joplin, Missouri. We see pig legs that were thrown at a mosque in California during the prayers. We see an acid bomb that was thrown at a local school masjid here in Illinois, in Lombard, and a shooting of .177 caliber pellets, which could kill you. Okay, this is not a BB gun, at the Morton Grove Islamic Center and School here in Illinois, all within the past few days. And just yesterday, we received reports at CARE of a Muslim grave, a Muslim tomb, a few of them, in the cemetery out in Evergreen, being desecrated with anti-Muslim slurs, including raghead and insults to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now we need to be able to deal with this. We deal with this as Muslims, as Americans, as a community. How do we deal with this? The first thing is to understand what is happening. We cannot shoot from the hip and be reactionary and look at situations out of context. There is a context to what is happening. The hate rhetoric, the demonization of a community that has been happening for quite some time cannot be disassociated, cannot be taken out and seen as its own thing away from these types of anti-Muslim hate crimes and violent crimes. And I'm not suggesting that these politicians that come out and engage in Islamophobic rhetoric are in fact asking people to go out and commit violent crimes. I'm not suggesting a cause and effect relationship, but there is a correlational relationship, no doubt. As this rhetoric rises, so do these hate crimes and violent crimes. And we need to acknowledge that we have a problem in this country with xenophobia and Islamophobia and deal with it. We cannot brush it under the carpet. It's the elephant in the room. It's been there for a while. The things that are said about Muslims could not be said, and rightly so, about most other communities. But it seems that for some, there is an exception to the rule of what is basic, decent, logical rhetoric when it comes to Muslims. And if you demonize a community, then don't be surprised when it's under attack. Don't act like you're surprised. Now, what is happening around the country right now is happening from a minority of individuals. The great majority stand shoulder to shoulder with us. And that's the other part of the story, is that the condemnations are not coming out of myself and my, colleagues from the Muslim community alone. The press conference that we had recently in response to some of these attacks, we had Jewish rabbis, we had Christian clergy, Methodist, Lutheran, Catholic, and they were just as upset and just as strong and genuine in their condemnation, because an attack against one is an attack against all. That is the way we function here as a community. We build these relationships not just for show, but because we truly care about what is right for each and every one of us. And so I don't want what is happening to cause any of us to lose faith or hope, or to believe that this minority of individuals somehow represent all of America. They don't. More so, these faith leaders represent what is right with this country and what must prevail. We will not go back to pre-1954 America. It is not as if the civil rights movement did not happen. It happened, people sacrificed, people died, America changed. It will not change back. We will not allow it to change back. On this day, on this blessed final day of Ramadan, last couple of days of Ramadan, last 10 days of Ramadan, in which we stand in awe of God, to use a phrase I heard from Mayor Rahm Emanuel during an iftar he held for the Muslim community. We stand in awe of God. We ask God, subhanahu wa ta'ala, to guide us through these tough times, to keep us strong, optimistic, and hopeful, and to overcome hate with love. Hate with love. Ignorance with knowledge. Darkness with light. Ameen. Allahumma ameen. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولكم ترحمون. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. My dear brothers and sisters, it's not enough to talk or to write or to just spew words. Action is what it's all about. And I want to report to you with humility that an organization by the name of CARE Chicago, your organization that you helped support and build over the years, has grown into an institution that can respond to such situations in an institutional manner, in a systematic manner, and bring about results. Before CARE Chicago, it was difficult for the Muslim community to be able to get the interest of politicians who saw us, for some reason or another, as political pariahs, to speak out and to stand with this community when it faces crises or trouble or problems. Today that's very different. We've built these relationships. We've shown who we are, the contours of our faces. It's not just shadows in the darkness as it used to be for these politicians. They get to come, meet, talk, listen, exchange ideas and information. We work together on issues, on immigration reform. We were just with Senator Durbin and Mayor Rahm Emanuel, Senator Cullerton, and Congressman Gutierrez working on the Dream Relief Act together. Muslims being part of the larger community, changing, transforming America for the better. We're not cocooned. An organization like this is able to go out there, engage, and put on the best face that the Muslim community has to offer, the educated young people that are trained in this organization to speak, to write, to understand, and to explain who we are and what we're about. In addition to that, to the political work, to the networking, the media. And I tell you this, I bear witness to this. When I started this work, I was told by more than one individual, leader, the Muslim community is unwelcome in the media. The media has an anti-Muslim bias. They will misquote you. They will make you look bad. Should we engage them? Should we not engage them? Today, 7 years later, that rhetoric is so forgotten, it's so much in the past because CARE Chicago, more than any other organization in the city, Muslim or otherwise, is able to regularly, consistently bring out the interviews that represent the issues we care about on all the various domestic, local, and national and international stations. Just this week alone, we logged over 45 interviews, from ABC to CBS to WGN to NBC to WTTW to Fox, and WBBM on the radio, WGN, WBEZ, Sun Times, Tribune, paper, radio, television, you name it. Even websites like Salon, Huffington Post, etc. We're able to get the story out. We're able to ensure that the conversation that we have is not a private one, but one that everybody hears and everybody listens to and everybody engages in, because we're not going to be secluded. We're not going to be marginalized. And that stuff, changing the marginalization won't happen automatically. You need to take action. You need to be proactive. You have to have an institution that has the vision, the strategy, the implementation, the ability to change that. Not to request for it to be changed, but to change it via action. And that is what we're talking about here. All of that is available on the website for you to see and assess for yourself. So I ask today, again, this final Friday of Ramadan, that this become a group effort. This become a team of not 12 or 15 or 40 or 100, referring to our staff, interns, volunteers, and activists, but rather of 500,000, the Chicago Muslim community. We're all in this together. The support I need from you, if we have 2,000 community members donating $1 a day to CARE Chicago, that is less, not at the price of coffee that you drink every day, but the cream on the coffee that you drink every day. Because as I understand it, at Starbucks, it's about $4 or $5 now. Just $1 a day, 2,000 people. We're done. We'll never have to fundraise again. We'll never have to waste time working on this logistical end when we could be working on the strategic end, of which we have so much that we can do and know how to do, but simply are too strained to do it. As you walk outside, inshallah, brothers downstairs will have a $1 a day pamphlet. Join the team. Be part of the movement. We will change things around. We are changing things around. And we're doing it without fear, without reservation, with faith in Allah, whom we fear no one but Him, and with a vision for America. And I want to close with this. This isn't about the Muslim community crying victim. This isn't about the Muslim community wanting special interests or special benefits. It's about us who already are very much part of this community, part of this society. Tax paying, law abiding, taking care of our children, putting food on the table, working hard, making sure our communities are safe. We are part of this society. We are not just belonging here, we are contributing to here at the highest levels. And what this is about, it's about backing off, staving off those who wish to demonize us and cast us in a different light for their own cheap political posturing, political gain, votes, ratings, money, you name it. Those like Fox, those like Congressman Joe Walsh, etc., etc. That is unacceptable. That will not happen on our watch. We will fight back, and inshallah, we will be vindicated, because the truth is on our side, justice is on our side, but the question is, will patience and discipline be on our side? We make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us be patient, to help us be disciplined, to help us be focused. Oh Allah, on these final blessed days of Ramadan, we ask you to keep our hearts clean and pure with your love, with fear of you and only you, with resolve to serve this deen, to emulate the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to help those around us who most need our help, and to become beacons representing this great faith to ourselves, to our families, to our community, and to the world. Alhamdulillah, nahmadullah wa nasta'inahu wa qim as-salah, inna as-salata tanha 'anil fahsha'i wal munkari wal baghi ya'idukum la'allakum tadhakkarun.